A new report from the Advertising Standards Authority has found Sadiq Khan misled the public about the benefits of ULEZ. Is it true or is it false?
Oh, well, this was brilliant, wasn't it? It was Sadiq Khan's finally got his little bit of a just comeuppance here. And
Little bit,
yeah. Because it's important to note that this is just a draft report that was leaked, apparently, by some kind of anti-ULEZ campaigner who's kind of been involved in all the kind of taking this to Sadiq Khan's kind of doorstep. And it is fascinating just what the statement the ASA put out, saying, like, we're not attacking the science, and all the rest of it, because they've looked at, I think it's 3 or 4 adverts that were put out over a period of time. And they're basically saying that it's just misleading. You know, I think they said potentially misleading because they've covered their back so much in this statement. It's hilarious, really.
What are the benefits of ULEZ? Can you tell me? There are no benefits of ULEZ. It's
not really. Not
well, what Sadiq Khan says, and by the way, it simply is not true that 4,000 people a year die as a result of pollution in London. Actually, only one person has died, and that was someone who's severely asthmatic, who, by the way, should not have been living in London, should have been moved out, but the authorities didn't do that. But anyhow, what he did was he sort of worked out that because of pollution, everybody has sort of 5 minutes less to live, and then added it up as if it was a normal person.
Well,
nobody would do that statistically.
Of course, he needs to get in the right lane himself. He's a fool, and he's a con artist. I'm sorry. This is nothing but hurting the most poor and the hard-working people.
I don't understand.
And, you know, keeping them trapped in their houses. He doesn't want us to drive. He wants us all to walk and be like the Romans.
I don't understand why Labour has gone from, you know, being the party of the working class, trying to support the poor, you know, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, to just being obsessed with a very small number of issues, which actually are actively damaging to the people of this country.
Well, yeah, and Labour saw what happened in Uxbridge, didn't they? And they've suddenly changed their tune. You know, Captain Flip-Flop changes, you know, like the breeze. And sadly, this is
like
so...
Febreze?
Like Febreze.
Oh, okay. I just wondered why.
I was hoping you were wearing some of that today, but you've got your other stuff.
He's a bit like Shake and Vac. He likes to put the freshness back.
But it's a con, and it's hurting our poorest and our hard-working. You know, that it really is a wrong, and it's got to be, I think we've got to scrap it totally.
Ollie, does anybody support Sadiq Khan anymore? Can he actually win this election?
Not a single person. I mean, they've already raked in £26 million in ULEZ fees. And imagine that you're a builder or a tradesman, and every day you have to spend that just leaving your home. That is so unfair, and it puts such a pressure on these people that are already struggling with a cost of living crisis. So he is definitely the worst mayor probably in the world.
Unbelievably, Lance Foreman, who comes on this show regularly, estimated that he had spent, through his company, on the congestion charge, which admittedly was Ken Livingstone and not Sadiq Khan, £500,000. Now, if you think about it, what he's not done is sold his house or sold his car. He's put the price of his smoked salmon up. Now, OK, smoked salmon's an expensive item, but that's true of cans of beans, that's true of packets of crisps, that's true of loaves of bread. So people are genuinely paying for all this out of their pocket. But anyway, Pete, has the Advertising Standards Authority had a go at Sadiq Khan?
Yes, they have. It's true.
It's absolutely true! OK, Leilani. Yes. Not Leilani. Not Leilani.
I'm green. I'm not. I'm not
She's not Leilani. You don't have to cut back her bush. OK. The BBC. Leilani grows too much. The BBC has been accused of hypocrisy. I can't believe I said that.
I can't either.
The BBC has been, and it's her first appearance. The BBC has been accused of hypocrisy after a reporter racked up 20,000 air miles to make a TV show about climate change.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. Come on, the BBC, the most hypocritical station around. And, you know, they're going to tell everybody, aren't they, that travelling around and taking flights is going to ruin the environment and cause climate change. And they're going to have their presenters travelling all over the place. So I think...
Yeah, it seems to be there's one rule for the rich and famous, thankfully me, and another rule for sort of, you know, you. And
with the BBC, I want to see them making documentaries about microplastics or the chemicals that are in our water, hormone disruptors, you know, in the water, in the air, in our food. But they don't. They've got this obsession with CO2 and climate change, and they push and push and push it and ignore real problems.
I'll tell you what, Leilani, I'd like them to make a documentary about. They could all go to the Congo to make a programme about cobalt slavery, which is caused by the number of electric cars.
Yeah, definitely.
But the BBC are so hypocritical, as are so many others. Our politicians, they do all these climate change summits, but turn up in their private jets, like Meghan and Harry, that are also, going on about climate change, and then whiz off for, whatever's going on in New York, like a baby shower party.
I remember years ago, there was a columnist, I forget which newspaper columnist it was, asked Polly Toynbee whether she worried about climate change when she was flying to her house in Tuscany. And she said, how dare you attack me personally? And you think, well, I thought it was a fair question.
All these people that preach about climate change, they are all hypocrites. Like Lizzie was saying, when you have the World Economic Forum Summit, they're talking about climate change, tackling this. You have 2,000 private jets arriving, again going to Congo. You have these lithium and cobalt mines which cause so much deforestation, soil degradation, and they have to be replaced very, very regularly. So for these solar panels and, electric cars, so actually causes a lot more damage. So it's not helping the environment. Same with ULEZ, that doesn't actually help. It makes it worse. You have to drive further around the city because you've got a plant pot in the middle of the road.
And I just say, it's so true. But why can't they just do it all on Zoom?
The funny thing,
why can't they? If they really want to save the planet.
Oh, my goodness. We need some balance for legal reasons. Let's bring on the woke wabbit! Right, woke wabbit. Officially, you are a member of Just Stop Oil. In reality, as a result of Ofcom regulations, you have to say something positive about the moves towards net zero. Can you now do that and bugger off?
Look, the BBC has done the world a net positive by sending out these journalists because it helps raise awareness for climate change. So they had to do this exercise in carbon pollution, if you can call it that. But it's fine.
OK, so do you also agree that net zero is a good idea?
Oh, 100%. OK,
do you also agree that people should pay extra taxes for net zero?
I think taxes should be raised to 100%.
OK. Well, in that case, I believe we've satisfied the legal requirement. Get back over there. Oh, goodness me. I love regulated. Yeah. OK, fair enough. Yeah, we might have to do that regularly throughout the show. Anyway, that was legal. It's the hotline to the danger zone.
The thing that makes this even more hypocritical is that the show that they were doing it for is for a Panorama documentary that was called Why Are We Searching for Fossil Fuels? So I presume this journalist is doing it himself personally. And the other bit is the show is about the idea that the world is saying one thing and doing another. And I was like, you couldn't write this story. I mean, it sounds like something out of a skit show.
Sorry, so just to be clear, Pete, and I hadn't realised this, this show is called Why Are We Searching for Fossil Fuels? And it involved a man searching for fossil fuels around the world.
Pretty much, yeah. He went
shouldn't it be? It's like, I can't believe it's not butter. It's like, so why are we making a programme about searching for fossil fuels when he shouldn't be searching for fossil fuels?
Yeah, because this guy, he's gone to California, somewhere, he's in the Middle East, he's gone
he's just
all
treating
around
himself.
The world. He's just got a little bit of
a jolly up, isn't he? He's having a good old jolly up.
I'll tell you what, Panorama, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a documentary, Lizzie, you can come with me. It's called Why Are We Searching for Sun-Kissed Beaches in the Caribbean? Right?
I'll do that.
We'll be there. I'll wear my, you can wear your lovely bikini, I'll wear my thong. That'll be a pretty sight when I bend over. Okay.
No, we want viewers.
Yeah, that's right. Well, block out the sun. Okay. Oh, I think it's a full moon tonight. Okay. Has the BBC been accused of hypocrisy by flying somebody around the world to talk about climate change?
Yes.
It's absolutely true! OK, this question is to Ollie. Deliberately. The owner of the Miss Universe pageant has filed for bankruptcy following diversity drive that allowed trans women to compete. Now, come on, you must have an opinion on this, Ollie.
Of course, you know me, I've always got an opinion. So, yes, this is actually true because last year, this Thai business person, I will say, they purchased Miss Universe for $20 million and their company is now in $193 million debt. Oof. They haven't been able to pay back their loans and bank credits, so they are struggling right now. And I think also you have the introduction this year of two transgender Miss Universe contestants. And look, if you want to have a trans pageant, make it Miss Trans Universe, but you shouldn't be doing that. So I think that's turned a lot of viewers off. I think they've probably
I'm
lost
not being funny, but if I was offered the opportunity of watching the Miss Universe competition bikini section with 2 trans,
It's a bit off-putting, right?
Almost had my eye out.
I mean, it isn't fair on the other women. And I used to do the pageants back in the day, a long time ago.
You did pageants. You've done pageants as
Yeah,
well.
I went to Miss Universe 25 years ago.
Who did you represent? You Toxeter.
No, Great Britain. I was Miss Great Britain 25 years ago, so I actually took part in it.
Sorry. OK, there are some people listening, but there are other people watching. You were in an adult competition 25 years ago. Right, you look about 25 now.
She looks younger than me.
Sorry. Let's just be clear to all the viewers. You are 10 years older than Pete. Pete, what?
I hate this show.
What's that?
I hate this show.
What's that?
Pete. You always get
Just get abused out here.
By the way, Ilani, I think what you should do is, I think you should drop your current fiancé, who you're very much in love with, to get a toy boy. What do you think? Old crater face.
Oh, that's so mean. Right.
Yes, I can't say that about Pete. OK, I'm awfully sorry. Pete, don't worry, you've received a pay rise.
Yay.
Hey. He now gets the whole slice of pizza at the end of the show.
I'm just saying this is so unfair, and I think the trans should have their own. I mean, it's great.
They actually
Let
do
them
in
have their
Thailand. There's
own.
actually a ladyboy pageant, and they look like women. They look great and stuff. They have their own pageant, and that's in the interest of fairness. Because what we saw, there was actually Miss Portugal was in the finals, the top 12 in the pageant Miss Universe the other day, and they're actually a biological man. I mean, how unfair is that for a woman that has dedicated her entire life? You've done pageants. I used to train Miss Universe Colombia. They work so hard.
Sorry, so you can't just throw that out in this.
I used to, yeah.
So you trained Miss Universe Colombia?
I've trained 2 people that were in the top 24.
What do you train them as? I mean, they're either hot or they're not.
So it does take training,
How to be a
isn't
woman.
it?
No, I train them communication skills. So basically how to answer the right questions with passion and, all the charity stuff. And
do you remember that one in Miss America? I personally believe that...
The US Americans.
The US Americans.
I was watching that the other day.
Some places like the Iraq don't have
and
that.
South Africa. Yeah.
Such as... Nailed it.
Brilliant.
But are these pageants something that should be confined to history? Because I think they're a bit of fun, but some people get very upset.
I don't know why people do get upset, but I think they are fun. And, for me, it opens a massive world of opportunity. And I ended up being able to go to America and get a green card because I'd won Miss Great Britain. It helped when I applied for my visa. So I think they're great. But they need to be restricted to women, biological women, because otherwise it's unfair. Men have their things and women have theirs. And
so were you talking about competitions, or was that a biological segment? But also, you've done the Lads Mags and Page 3, and all of that seems to be going out of fashion as well. I personally, look, it might be that I'm out of date, it might be that I'm old-fashioned, but I think it is just a bit of fun.
It was fun. It really did give me a platform, and I made some money, and I was able to invest in real estate and property, and it was really good for me. And, it would be like me trying to enter RuPaul's Drag Race or something, or Mr. Universe, and just trying to lift, show my muscles in just a pair of Speedos. I mean,
I don't know, Pete, but I'm quite up for that.
Just a pair of Speedos.
I think you in just a pair of Speedos, doing your poses, doing all your whatever it is.
But Leonie's right, it's a stepping stone, and it's made people have careers. I mean, look at Samantha Fox, went on to have a massive singing career. So many girls. Who are you to say women can't do it? We're free to do what we want.
Was it the flag girls at the F1?
Yeah.
Because they scrapped them, didn't they? And I actually felt sorry for these women, because one of them says, well, we don't do it our entire lives. It was a way to make some money. They got to travel the world, to meet celebrities and everything. And they just said, just because some women on the internet didn't like it, their entire career was just ripped away from them.
But without being funny, the women that complain, it's always the fat ones. It's never it's like they always go, don't wolf whistle down the street, it's amusing. But no one's going to wolf whistle. I believe the women that complain about wolf whistling are only the ones that nobody would ever wolf whistle.
If they don't wolf whistle, I walk past. I know. I've been walking back and forth.
Can I tell you? She has walked past Mr. Smith's nightclub in Wigan every weekend for the past 6 years.
I do, waiting for a wolf whistle.
No, Mr. Smith was in Warrington.
I used to do the grids as well for the Formula One.
Did you?
Yeah, and a lot of the girls were at uni. They were paying their way through uni by doing the grids. You know, they weren't half naked or in bikinis. They were in cat suits. And, you know, that's wrong. But I saw that in Australia, they had, like, some trans grid things as a performance, you know? So
you think to yourself, so you're at university, tuition fees are going up, you've got the opportunity to go to Monaco 1 week, Dubai the next week, California, I don't know where these Grand Prix are.
Silverstone.
Round the corner.
Silverstone, not so much. But then you get a load of money for doing it. You get on TV, you get to meet some celebrities, you stay in a nice hotel, you pay your tuition fees, go on holiday.
Yeah, it's
it was
fun.
great. It was great.
No, I didn't stay at a hotel in Silverstone. We all had these camper vans, which but they were very deluxe. But you can make a lot of money.
So you did it as well?
I did it as well.
So were you kind of on the same circuit? Not at the same time, obviously.
But it was easy and it was good fun and it was all girls having fun together and making money.
Lizzie, in America, many of the pageants, the prizes, and this is what people forget, are actually scholarships to high-quality universities. Not always the best universities. But can you imagine, to go to college in America might be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and you get all that for free for winning Miss Alabama. What's not to love?
Exactly. And then who's anyone to tell you what you can do and not do?
It's up to you. Leilani, is there an element... I mean, part of, and I'm being deadly serious about this, I've made a few jokes, but part of women's sexuality is they want to look visually appealing. And that's something, whereas I guess I always say that beauty for a woman is what charisma is for a man. There's different things that men and women are interested in. But I feel that's being taken away from women. Is that a fair comment?
No, I think it is. And they're playing everything down and they're making women feel bad about trying to, look nice and present themselves well, and sell it, or showing any kind of femininity or sexuality. And, they've made it so that, breasts, I'm not saying go topless or anything like that, but I'm just saying they've made it so that breasts are awful. Unless you're a trans male and you slice off your breasts, then you can show them and whatever, everywhere you want, have them on Costa Coffee ads and the Doc Martin boots. So it's a very strange time, I think, for young women.
My mum used to watch sort of programmes like The X Factor. She'd say things like, oh, she's got a good figure and things like that. Nobody says that anymore.
No,
mind you, she did say of Little Mix, she said, if I managed them, I'd starve them. That's just crushing. That's crushing. OK, so that is Little Mix's manager saying those thighs were purely educational. OK, right. Right, so once again, for Ofcom regulations, let's bring back the bunny. Stick your head on. Stick your head on. Stick your head on. Right, OK, should page 3 be brought back?
I don't even know what it is. I mean, it's a bit before my time, really. Is that the one with the naked people on it?
Yeah, where you get your top off.
You absolutely cannot do that.
Do you believe it degrades women?
I believe it degrades everyone, absolutely. And actually, I would ban women from doing it.
So would you have trans men doing page 3?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, OK. The woke wabbit! But, OK, has the owner of Miss... I mean, to be honest with you, you've give the financial details.
Sorry,
you've given the financial details.
Yeah.
But has Miss Universe filed for bankruptcy?
They have. They're going broke.
It's absolutely true!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break.
On the 12th day of wokemas, my true love sent to me 12 strikers striking 11, vegans munching 10, blacks protesting 9, Biden sleeping 8, cops are dancing 7, Greta's crying 6,000 genders. The BBC, 4 Twitter trolls, 3 PMs, 2 hypocrites, and a Meghan documentary.
It's the world's #1 interview show, the new global home of big debates and big questions.
This is really unfair.
Why?
We'll explain why.
For all the big names.
When I say I am God, I'm not joking.
You're going to resign?
Yeah, because I cannot continue my work.
Did you feel Elvis was a controlling influence on you? And the good news? You've already found it. All new Piers Morgan Uncensored, right here, Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m.
Welcome back to That Was the Woke That Was.
OK, activists are demanding this to Lizzie. Activists are demanding Black Friday. Get ready for it. You know what's coming. Activists are demanding that Black Friday should be banned in Britain because it's got racist connotations.
Oh, my word. Please tell me not.
Black Friday.
I thought Black Friday was a good thing.
Black Friday is supposed to be the first day that companies are in the black so they can sell stuff cheaper.
You get a bargain, and I love a bargain.
It's got nothing to do with black people at all. But what you've got to think to yourself, Lizzie, is this. You've got to think, is someone somewhere stupid enough to believe it's a racist term?
Sadly, I think so. That's how mad it is. I mean, I said I want some milk, and they said that's racist now because it's white. I was like, this is going potty.
No, we've discovered this because Pete and I have been through this before. We've discovered what's racist about milk. And what apparently is racist about milk is, and I didn't know this, whilst most white Europeans can have milk, most people in the rest of the world are lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
So apparently,
milk is racist.
if you talk about milk, then that is racist.
But the world's gone mad. This is woke nonsense, and we're not allowed to say anything now. I mean, I've even found out the other day the National Trust calendar can't have Christmas or Easter.
Let's just ask you then, and I think this is quite a hard question. So first of all, clearly Black Friday is not racist, but do we believe that somebody somewhere was stupid enough to believe it was?
Yeah, I do. I'm afraid so.
Thank goodness it's false! OK, let's bring on the bunny for the scores. Hey! OK, so what has gone on here?
Hold on, bunny.
Well, I got it from... I got this at the Friday of Colour. That's what you need to call it. It's not
Friday
Black
of Colour.
Friday of Colour sale.
Friday of Colour sale. Now, for those people listening, you are now wearing a pink rabbit fur top.
Oh, this is real fur?
No, I think...
No,
What?
it is my jacket, actually. You're a thief.
OK, so, Woke Rabbit, what are the scores?
5 points for everyone.
5 points for everyone! Hey! OK, and I noticed there was a bit of a catwalk effort there. Well done. Wabbit. Suella Braverman sent Rishi Sunak 6 letters saying his Rwanda migrant plan wouldn't work before she was sacked. Is it true or is it false?
Well, I know this to be true, and yeah, this is quite an embarrassment for Rishi Sunak, considering Suella has warned him multiple times that the Supreme Court was never going to accept the policy, and it was kind of dead on arrival more than anything else. And it does strike me this, actually, when Suella was let go from the cabinet, I offered if it was one of those kind of John Major incidents where is it better to have them in the tent pissing out than out the tent pissing in? And I wonder if this is the problem that Rishi Sunak's going to have with Suella, is if she keeps making these comments and massively undermining him. And don't forget, she's quite popular within the Conservative Party and within the Conservative movement.
So, Pete, I just want to ask you this, because it's worth clarifying to everybody out there that you're one of these people who believe the Conservative Party's lost its way. You're a Conservative. You were really chuffed with the Red Wall coming in 2019. Your seat didn't quite make it because Lisa Nandy is the Member of Parliament for Wigan, but obviously Lee, the seat next door where I live or I come from, did. You were never convinced by Boris. You always thought that Boris talked the talk but didn't walk the walk. Is your view that Suella is genuine or not?
It's a difficult one, that, because my thing is I'd want them to do something. I'm a little sick to death of the Conservative right having all the right rhetoric, but when they actually get into power, they haven't done anything. This is where the Conservatives, I think, have really got to struggle at the next general election, because they can't point to something and say, we did that and we made it better.
Oh, I don't know, peerage for David Cameron?
Exactly, what a joke.
Yeah, but no, and I think this is where the real problem I have, because I thought the same Priti Patel, I thought Liz Truss was going, I knew Liz Truss was going to be a disaster, because she has the political acumen of a turnip. Kwasi Kwarteng was always...
I thought it was a lettuce.
Yeah, well, it's a lettuce.
But no, like all of these like kind of great figures of the Conservative right...
Yeah, but Suella's hands were tied. If you were to believe her letter, she warned him, but she couldn't do anything, and that was a political assassination.
Yeah, to a degree.
Do you know who my favourite Home Secretary was, believe it or not? Was actually Theresa May. Now, obviously, she had terrible problems because she had to make all the cuts to the police, which actually I don't think were as bad as they would have been otherwise. But I loved her. Was it Abu Qatada, where she came back to House of Commons, I think 5 times, having failed to deport him, and every time she kept chipping away. And by the way, the political left said he shouldn't be deported because he wouldn't get a fair trial in Jordan, and then they found him not guilty. It's unbelievable.
I know, it's staggering.
The only thing I liked about her were her little kitten and leopard print
Yeah.
shoes. That was about it.
My thing with Theresa May was, I remember when she became Prime Minister...
Theresa May in leopard print.
The political left went mental saying, oh, she's the most right-wing Prime Minister we've ever had, and and I was like, well, here's hoping.
It's like when people say, if the Tories get in next time, they'll abolish the NHS.
Come on, do it.
Come on.
No, but this is, you get it all the time. It's like when Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, it's like, this is the most right-wing one. It's like, at some point, you're going to have to admit that these people are not as right-wing as you want them to be. And like, they're not some kind of pantomime villain. And that's what they tried to paint Theresa May as, particularly because when she was Home Secretary, like the longest serving Home Secretary I think we've ever had, which is a skill within itself.
To be honest, Suella was saying what a lot of us were thinking, but she just didn't.
Yeah, but Pete's argument is that's all they do. By the way, my favourite ever Theresa May story, there was the one where the emergency hotline rang and somebody attempted to order a Chinese meal. Apparently it was meant to be, it's a highly secure number, nobody's got it. Yeah, I'll have 2 prawn wontons. but the other one was, which I thought was absolutely superb, she was in NATO summit and somebody went, what's it like being a senior minister or a prime minister and also still being a local MP? And she said, well, I've got to fly back from this summit early to open a community potato patch. Anyway, Pete, did Suella Braverman send all these letters to Rishi?
Yes, she did.
It's absolutely true! OK, Lilani. WH Smith's is giving their staff body cams to stop shoplifting. Is it true or is it false?
Do you know, I would imagine they would, because the shoplifting at the moment is out of control all across the country. It's insane. But the problem is I don't think the body cams are going to do anything unless the police actually do something, unless the courts get tough on, you know, shoplifting, and that doesn't seem to happen.
Do you know, I've got a friend of mine who's saying to me the other day, he's coming from abroad, and he said to me the other day that he was literally just in a shop and a group of people just helped themselves and just left.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. I mean, California's really bad for that. I was living in America for 17 years before I moved back 3 years ago, and my friends out there see it all the time. People literally walk into the shops with shopping trolleys, pile everything in, walk out. Someone actually did it in, I think it's Home Depot, with Christmas decorations. How Christmassy is that to have you stolen Christmas decorations
but the
all over your
security guards
house?
are too scared to do anything because they're thinking, well, why? Because
you're allowed
the gangs will wait for us outside.
In San Francisco, you're allowed under 1,000. Also, now the criminals are so emboldened, they don't even hide their faces anymore. They don't even wear masks because there's no punishment.
But it's just, but Ollie, here's the thing that's really frustrating, and we can't encourage people to break the law, but how tempting must it be to people who are suffering under a cost of living crisis when you know that nothing will happen? You know that you can walk into Tesco's right now, fill up your bag and just walk out. Now, you know, I mean, people shouldn't do it because it's just going to make the problem worse. But I can understand why people are tempted.
Totally.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter the other day someone saying they were in a pharmacy in America, CVS, and they were saying they'd seen people looting and the security did nothing. And they were like, why should I be working so hard and paying for this in the cost of living crisis when these criminals can steal $1,000
Mind you,
worth of things?
there's a well-known little branch of Tesco's on Trafalgar Square that I think is open 24 hours a day, and I saw somebody attacking the Krispy Kreme donuts. but the best bit about it was he was literally eating them. The security was going, get out, get out.
He's talking about himself.
I saw somebody.
Who was it who did that, eh?
That thing you were looking at was called a mirror.
Well, you could steal, if you
There was
steal
some big fat ginger bloke.
Wearing a bikini.
But on, I said to security, what are you going to do? And they said, look, we get paid minimum wage. They said, if we have a go at him and we get thumped, there'll be no police backup. He said, I'm not going to lose my life for the sake of a few donuts. No. And then I thought, well, why are you stood there? It's only, all it's doing is pushing up the cost.
Exactly. But you don't get prosecuted, so you can steal up to 200 quid.
I think this is where you're bang on, saying the cameras won't do anything unless the other bits of the system also kind of step up to the plate and actually do the job. I was looking at the stats over this, and it's I think it's the top 10 cities in the UK. Shoplifting has gone up 27%. And is costing around about £1 billion to these kind of companies. Because one thing a lot of people forget is it's not necessarily these giant companies that are being attacked. It's also like local news agents, it's smaller shops as well, where their margins at the moment are really tight, and it's ruined them.
Hello? Oh, it's Ollie London's agent.
What did I say?
Oh, OK. So, read it out. So your agent has said that I'm contractually obliged to read the following question. So, Ollie, Given the shoplifting epidemic, are you concerned that your new book, Gender Madness, will be stolen from all good bookshops where it's currently being stocked, priced?
I think it's £18.
£18. Are you concerned about that, Ollie?
No, and I'll tell you why I'm not, because the bookstores are so woke, they won't even sell it in the stores. Really? They're selling it online, not in the stores. So there's no shoplifting going on there. So I guess...
So okay, where can we get your book, Gender Madness?
It's everywhere. So it's Amazon, it's on Waterstone's website, click and collect, but they just won't sell it in the store because apparently speaking about protecting kids is controversial.
And just to be clear, for those people who aren't familiar with you, and most people will be, you're somebody who suffered from a lack of self-confidence as a young person and then began a process of transitioning to become a woman and realised just in time.
I've still got it.
Just in time.
Keep your eyes up here.
That was to be fair, I couldn't miss it.
Oh, yeah, I know. My third leg.
But you discovered just in time.
Just
and what
in
you're
time.
trying to do, and I think it is a laudable thing, because whilst we don't want to discriminate against trans people, equally, there are a lot of people being sent down that route.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody wants to discriminate against anyone that feels a certain way. And, you know, if somebody feels that way, it's great. But the problem is when people are being pushed into it and they weren't thinking about it before. You know, when it's little kids and stuff, they can't have a concept of this. So that's, you know, what my book is about. And that's what I think all human beings should be speaking up about, is like, kids can't do this. We are seeing it becoming a significant trend. And we're going to see in a few years a huge regret rate. We've already seen, you know, so many teens.
I personally believe, we're going to move on, but I personally believe that just as when I was a kid and you grew up watching all these programmes about care homes in Wales and the level of abuse that took place, and we were all shocked thinking, how could people let them away with this? I actually think that this trans thing and the Tavistock Clinic is going to be the next big scandal. And I think a huge number of people are going to prison, and rightly so. But anyway, that hasn't happened yet. So I was about to say, are the NHS giving body cams? Are WH Smiths giving body cams to stop shoplifting?
Yes.
It's absolutely true! OK, to Ollie. Lord Cameron is now worth over 40 million. Now, by the way, Ollie, I'm gutted about this because I've been doing a bit of writing for the show and I wanted the question to be, is Lord Cameron going to be Lord Cameron of Brussels in honour of his failure to renegotiate on the EU? They wouldn't allow that question. So the question is he worth £40 million?
Well, we know a lot of ex-prime ministers make a lot of money. Some can make up to $500,000 per speech. And, you know, we see them flying to America, David Cameron, Boris Johnson, and they get paid a lot of money. They also have their own books. So David Cameron had a book. And, you know, they make millions of pounds in advances from that as well.
Was his book Spare?
Probably Despair.
No one read that book, you know that. Seriously. He was the one Prime Minister that no one bought that book. Do you know,
I think
do you
I
know
was
the
the only one
title
that
of
did
it? It
buy
was a real...
Funnily enough, I you know, Nadine Dorris's book sort of struggled to sell, and a lot of these politicians' books, I have to say, I think these tell-all memoirs
It would put
are
you to
not
sleep.
well, I don't think they're as popular as they used to be. Because if you remember, well, you don't remember, but Alan Clark's diary was this explosive thing that hit the 80s like an absolute Exocet missile, and it was because nobody had really done that before. Books had previously been, and it was on the 14th day, I went to see the Home Secretary, and the Home Secretary told me that the war was over.
Yeah.
But now it's like the Home Secretary was wearing knickers. But we're so sick of it now.
He's
And
so
also, they
boring.
don't reveal much new information. Everybody's watched them on TV. They've seen them speaking. The only one I'll say, like you mentioned, Nadine Dorris's book seems very interesting because she's talking about this kind of shadowy lobbyist figures and stuff. So that seems to have a different angle. But everyone else, we all know the story of David Cameron. We all know the story of Liz Truss, you know. She lasts
But
as long as
he's
a
supposed to be
lettuce.
a man of the people, 14 million.
I tell you who I felt sorry for, and actually it was okay in the end. But Harry Cole, who is the political editor of The Sun, wrote the book about Liz Truss, and before it was published, she'd resigned. And actually, although in the end, apparently, believe it or not, he actually did quite well off the book because they want to make it into a film because they always say it's easy with the film when you've got like 40 days.
Yeah.
But I mean, he must have been devastated when he'd only just finished it. She's gone.
She's already got to write an ending.
But you know, the thing is with book deals, I think book deals and, you know, kind of art deals, they're can be a bit of a brown envelope kind of little bit of, here you go, here's some cash for something else you might have done, or might be doing in the future.
Yeah, because I think the idea behind Cameron's book that he would kind of dish on all of the referendum stuff and like really kind of go to town on people. And I like I said, I did read it, and he doesn't really, I have to admit. But with this question, in my head, it's like, is it only 40 million?
Yeah.
Like in the back of my head, I was like, I thought he might have been worth a little bit more than that.
But no,
actually.
he spent our own money, 9 million. Do you know that, on his terrible campaign to
It was,
remain?
yeah,
9 million.
But it's,
and do you know what? He is. How he's brought him out of the fridge freezer.
It is what I prepared earlier.
I think actually this is a difficult question, Ollie, and I'll tell you why, because there's a couple of things. Remember, David Cameron's granddad was the chairman of Aston Villa Football Club. His wife, Samantha, I think is something like the granddaughter of a Speaker of the House of Commons. She described herself as being from Scunthorpe. It's actually a huge estate in Lincolnshire. His dad was the chairman of White's, and the famous private members club. And of course, he was even mentioned in the Panama Papers because a certain percentage of his family wealth is held overseas. So you add in the book deal, the speaking, the earnings from his life in business, setting up Tiger, which was the pub chain that he was part owner of. You think to yourself, is it only 40 million? So look, we've put a figure of 40 million. Could be more, could be less. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say it is true. You'd think it'd be worth more, but I would say it is true.
It's absolutely true!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break.
Will they break the gender norm and they never will conform? They're non-binary.
It's here! Now that's what I call woke.
She's always the person with the cervix to me.
44 smash hits, now with more inclusive lyrics.
Man, I feel gender fluid.
Iconic tunes updated for the modern listener.
Love is to the left of me, vegans to the right. Here I am, stuck on the M1 with you. Things can only get greater.
I want to know what a woman is.
Here in my car, I am killing the earth with my toxic exhaust. It's a selfish way to live.
No trigger warning required.
Oh, the wokey-cokey. Whoa, the wokey-cokey. Oh, my little Europhile, my Europhile. When you gonna follow me back, Ramona?
Now that's what I call woke. Not streaming now. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Well, this guy wasn't elected in a general election when he first came in as Prime Minister. He's just like Rishi Sunak, but there isn't a war at the moment. So I've been out and about in Westminster asking people if there should be a general election right now. Should there be a general election?
What we've got, we have to live with.
But we elected Boris, then Liz came in, and then Rishi came in.
But Boris, but it doesn't mean to say he's going to be there 5 years. He could have died, or he could have been ill. But he was ill, wasn't he?
But he didn't die. I mean, politically he died. Are you a bit annoyed that we've got an unelected Prime Minister?
Very. Very annoyed. Not happy at all.
Which way would you vote if there was an election?
The Christian People's Alliance Party, whose rosette I'm wearing and of which I'm a member, and I did stand for them at the local elections in South Hertfordshire.
I know Christian People's Alliance, they are Christian kind of, but the nation is gone woke. So if you mention Jesus, they call you something else, they call you bigot. Anything truth, people don't want the truth these days, they like a lie. They like different narratives. Christian People's Alliance are the ones.
Should there be a general election?
Anytime you like, yep.
And will Labour win it?
By a street.
And is it good that we have an unelected government?
Well, we don't have an unelected government. We have an unelected Prime Minister, don't we? A succession of them. So that's not good, no.
I mean, the big advantage of Rishi Sunak being Prime Minister is that he won't conspire to bring down the government anymore.
No, well, the rest of his colleagues will conspire to do that anyway. He doesn't need to. They'll do it for him.
Are the Conservatives now just a shambles?
They're complete shambles, and of course it's the country that's suffering as a result of it.
Good to see you, yeah. I'm really following you, Nigel, and Richard, and all the rest.
Listen, should there be a general election?
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's a trick question, isn't it? I'm going back to Scotland, and if you don't like the government here, you want to see what it's like in Scotland. That's all I can say.
It's fair to say our viewers are not big fans of Nicola Sturgeon.
Is anybody?
Nicola Sturgeon is.
Yes, that's true.
I think her husband is as well.
No, that's not what I hear.
We just can't go any further with that. What are you looking forward to in a Rishi Sunak leadership, apart from the Roland Rat look?
Well, he stopped the fracking, so that's wrong. They should do fracking.
These people are intangible, aren't they? Yeah, they have no sort of backbone. They don't command any sort of respect or loyalty or anything. You know, you want somebody who's strong, a sort of, shouldn't say it, but a sort of Thatcherite type of figure.
There we go. We've got to give him a kiss. Oh. There we go. Should there be a general election?
Yes.
Why?
Just because people are not happy, and yes, I do believe.
It just feels sometimes that the government isn't listening to us at all. So are you just wasting your time standing here?
No, I do agree. I think we've got a set of politicians who are answerable only to the elites. They're not listening to us. Frankly, I don't think they care very much about us. Unless I think we do activate ourselves, I think then they'll listen, because they don't have control anymore.
Why should there be a general election?
Because we've got an unelected Prime Minister.
So what will general election do? What benefit would it be?
Well, it would potentially bring in a new set of politicians who might be better.
How do you know they might be better?
I don't.
Well, they may not be better, they may be worse.
But
so we're from frying pan to fire.
Are you happy with Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister?
Wish he hadn't appointed Suella Braverman. I think it was an error of judgment. Otherwise, hopefully compromise will try and get some stable government again.
Are the Conservative Party now a joke?
They are a disparate group made up of different strands. I don't see how they can stay together for much longer.
Frankly, the political class that we have ended up with don't represent us. They don't act for us. They really, truly act for a higher group of elites, is what I think. But the answer, I think you were saying, is there any point of this? I think I've been over that in my mind. I think there is. We've got to activate ourselves, because I think the one thing these elitists don't like, or they can't handle, is when people like us start going out on the streets.
Are you worried about having an unelected government?
Well, not unelected government. The government was elected in, but the way they choose their leader is not fit for purpose today. And we feel that we've been left behind whilst the party suits itself and not the country.
Which way would you vote if there was a general election?
Not Tory.
Anyone but the Tories?
Yes.
What about Nigel Farage?
No.
What about Keir Starmer?
Nah.
What about the Liberal Democrat bloke, whoever it is this week?
Well, it's a bit rude to not say his name. He said Nigel Farage, but he don't say Liberal Democrat. That's a bit unfair. Come on, where's your empire?
I can't remember his name right now. It's Sir somebody or other.
Come on, you're the reporter.
I can't remember his name. Right, we're going to cut this. Can't do this anymore. I can't remember the Liberal Democrat leader's name. I've been defeated by a bald man in a backpack. Okay, so to Lizzie. Labour has pledged to ban curry if elected on the grounds it's cultural appropriation.
Oh my goodness, please tell me not. You know I love curry. I do the British Curry Awards every year.
Do you know
That's how I met Nigel Farage.
Do you know the British Bangladeshi Caterers Association gave me Media Curry Eater of the Year? They wanted to give it to Hartley Brewer, but she wasn't willing to turn up, which is amazing, because Hartley Brewer's allergic to turmeric. So how on earth she's a genuine curry eater?
Oh my God. If this is true, Labour are going into their own korma. No, I hope not. I really do, because I think curry brings people together. I love a good curry, and it's great business, and we need curry. It makes. I have to say,
I wrote a speech because I'm involved in the British Bangladeshi Caterers Association. I wrote a speech for their president, and I said, you know, it's the heart of every community, curry houses. They're really starting to struggle now because they struggle to get chefs over from Bangladesh because of immigration rules. They, by the way, want to have visas where you don't get citizenship, you can't bring your family, and you're not entitled to benefits, so they can bring chefs over, which I think would be superb. But anyway, do we think that Labour want rid of curry? I think there'd be violence in London.
There literally would be.
People would text us, don't take away my biryani.
Yeah, but no, like, it's funny you say about bringing people together. We talk about all aspects of woke on this show, but I do think people who argue about cultural appropriation is probably the most insidious one. It is deliberately keeping people apart.
Yes.
That is the point of it. It is the point of cultures is that you share and that you kind of bring them together, and the woke doesn't like that. The idea and the concepts behind it. So I think that anybody who's kind of pushing this cultural appropriation stuff, I think is not a very good person.
Pete, I've said this to you before, and apologies for being repetitious, but this idea that you say, we need a multicultural society and we've got to prohibit cultural appropriation, what you are literally saying is, we don't want a melting pot. Those two things are completely opposite. So it's absolutely insidious. Anyway, do we believe... Oh, we don't, do we? But come on.
No, listen, I'm telling you now, I really hope not. I say not yet, false.
By the way, the notes that I have on my sheet does give you a few details of what's going on. And what I always write under the false ones is not yet. Because we've had stuff that's come true before, even afterwards. But this time, it's false! OK, what are the final scores? Woke Rabbits! OK, so do you believe that curry is racist?
Only when white people eat it.
So in Britain, what we should have is we should have two classes of people. We should have people from the Indian subcontinent or descendants of people from the Indian subcontinent who can eat curry, and all the rest of us who are prohibited from eating curry. So what would we eat? Just turnips and stuff?
Fish and chips, I don't know.
Fish and chips, OK. But of course, you're not in favour of fish because it kills an animal.
Absolutely.
So what's vegetarian curry you're in favour? Just remember, try to remember what you're doing. Right. You know what?
What's the price?
You're going to be in big trouble for eating a bunny.
What's the prize this week?
Animal abuse.
The prize this week is a curry with Lizzie Cundy. So she's prohibited from winning. So, OK, who has won the prize? Because what are the scores?
I guess no one's won it because none of you can eat curry because it's racist.
Nobody has won! Hey! OK, thank you so much for watching the show. This is the moment that I admit that when I tripped over Pete on the way in, I actually injured myself. Thank you so much to Lizzie Cundy. Thank you so much to Ollie London, Leilani Dowding, and indeed Pete Barnes, who is now going to help me to my feet because I need now to run off.